On this episode of Thomas Talk, we're talking about the brand new episodes of Season 19 that came out this week. Hello and welcome to Thomas Talk. I'm your host, Josh. This is a talk show all about Thomas the Tank Engine where we talk about the news in the past week, as well as my opinions on the show and community-based information. This past week, 5 episodes from the 19th season were released on a DVD, Whale of a Tale and Other Sodor Adventures. Those episodes were Toad and the Whale, Who's Jeffrey?, The Truth About Toby, Lost Property, and Henry Spots Trouble. One interesting thing to note is that in the original DVD listings, Henry Spots Trouble was listed as a spot of bother, so it was a nice surprise to kind of see a different title for it. This DVD also saw the introduction of Helen Farrell as a writer to the show and featured other episodes written by Lee Pressman, who hasn't written for the show since season 17, and Davey Moore makes a lovely return as well. Helen Farrell does an excellent job writing for the series for her first 3 episodes, and both of them, which were Toad and the Whale and Lost Property, were really well written and I really enjoyed watching them. One thing that I have to say about Toad and the Whale is that I felt like there was just something missing from it. It was a really entertaining episode to watch, and I did really enjoy it. It just felt like there was something missing from the story, and I was having trouble putting my finger on what the moral was. I could figure out that the moral was that Oliver should be listening to Toad more, and that giving people a chance to speak is a good idea. Just, I didn't feel like it was pushed out that much. I feel like the episode was more about Toad and how Toad was neglected, so it was more of a relatable episode than one that kids would learn from, I think. Who's Jeffrey was also a very entertaining episode, and it's actually one of my favorites on the DVD, and seeing Thomas put on that different voice was actually really entertaining, and I love the animation that they did for that as well. His mouth movements to fit the different voice worked really well. I did like the running gag in Who's Jeffrey with the bouncing balls, and one of the other things that I was really happy about in this episode is that Spencer has headlamps, not just regular placement of headlamps though, but actual express train head codes, which was really exciting as that was something that I suggested to Robert Anderson back when they were in production of season 18, and I'm just happy to see that they've been put into the show. Now, one episode on the DVD that I liked in some ways and didn't like in some other ways was The Truth About Toby, which was written by Davey Moore. The plot of the episode is that Toby is sent to the scrap yards to deliver scrap, and he runs out of coal. So Thomas and Edward see him there and believe that he's there to be scrapped. So they start this whole rumor around Sodor, around Toby being scrapped. It's a really fun episode, and I feel like it worked well. The one thing I do have to question though is when Reg picked up Toby. I know that Reg has stabilizers so he wouldn't fall over, but I'm wondering if that crane is even strong enough to pick up an engine, and how he got a grip on Toby. It looked like he was just kind of grabbing the wood on his front, which I'm not sure is the most safe place to grab an engine, but it's fiction, so we can do whatever we like. Some people like this episode and some people don't. I'm one of the people who enjoys it for what it is, and it's just a good story being told. Now, one of my favorite episodes on this release is Helen Farrell's second episode called Lost Property. In this episode, the Northwestern Railway is undergoing a railway inspection and things are going less than well as everything seems to be going wrong, and Sir Topham Hatt seems to be trying to make up for it, but unfortunately there are 2 very grumpy railway inspectors. However, Thomas brings out the best side in the railway inspectors once he recovers a lost watch that means a lot to one of them. One thing that one of my friends pointed out to me was that when Sir Topham Hatt hit his eye with the little bouncing ball, he had a black eye for the rest of the episode. And at the end of the episode, when he hit his other eye, he got a black eye there too. So I think that was a little funny joke that was hidden in there as well. I also like the fact that they're talking about lost property to kids so that when they lose something, they have a bit of an understanding of where it goes. The last episode on the release is Henry Spots Trouble, in which Henry believes that he has chicken pox. This has started when Stephen and Bridget Hatts, or Topham Hatt's grandchildren, named for the first time, I think, since the first season. Don't quote me on that, though. They get chickenpox, and Henry becomes scared that he has chickenpox as well. One of the things that they've developed Henry as is a worrier, and they say as much. And that was developed in the series of many years back. And I think that the reason why they haven't changed it is because kids who have watched the show since those years back have gotten to know Henry as this worrier. So all of a sudden, if he was this brave engine, then I think they'd be a little confused. I think that the episode did work well, and the character choice of Henry being scared was a good one. He hadn't ever heard of chickenpox before, and they probably looked a little scary to him. So I don't blame him for being upset because, first of all, he'd never seen them, and they looked scary. One thing that other people are wondering about is the fact about Henry running away backwards with passengers. I think that they know that that's the wrong thing because they have the passengers complaining. One of them says, "This is where I got off," and all that stuff. So it's really a good little joke, actually. They make fun of it. They know that it's not realistic, and that's why they make fun of it. But you know what? I think one thing that you have to remember is that the whole point about fiction is that you can break the rules of reality. So just let it be a good story and just enjoy the story for what it is. Overall, the 5 episodes on Whale of a Tale and Other Sodor Adventures were really enjoyable to watch. The animation has improved so much. Everything just looks so solid now. And it looks like real paintwork on the engines. I could see the reflections of the humans on it, and it was great. So my final verdict on these 5 season 19 episodes is that they're really enjoyable. And I don't want to say that they're better than the other season's first 5, because they're all good in their own ways, but they are certainly following the same standard, and the writing quality has been upped a notch. Now, I've rambled on about my opinions for the episodes now, but what I really want to know is how do you feel about the episodes? So please leave a comment down below telling me what you think about these 5 episodes. Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Thomas Talk. This has been really fun, and we'll see you all next week.